This is KP from the Memphis 10. I write, I blog, I inspire. This is blogspot.com.
This is KP with I Write, and we are tuning in with the creators of Hardwood Insiders. We have Martinis and Paul with us. How are y'all doing today?
Good, thank you. Thank you for having us.
Thank you. I appreciate it. So we're just going to jump right into the interview, gentlemen. First thing I wanted to say, I love the presentation of the website. It's organized, it's neat, the grammar looks good, and it's easy to follow. I just wanted to ask, and either one of you all can answer, or you can kind of like just both contribute to the answer, but what made you guys create Hardwood Insiders? What conversation sparked it to where you guys said, hey, let's actually do this, let's make it a reality, and let's put it out there to the masses?
Well, I guess I'll start out. Calling out, we met at Howard University School of Law, and we both share a love for the game of basketball. And, we would attend some high school basketball games together in D.C., watch the games, analyze the games. And, eventually we graduated and passed the bar, and we both decided, hey, why not work together on a website centered around high school basketball? And that's kind of how things started. And just to follow up, I think Martinez is very kind of modest because a lot of this was his idea. I mean, I love the game, but a lot of it he was like, let's do it, let's start it up. And then as soon as he said it, he's always successful in whatever he does. So I was going to hop right on board. Just my love of the game, I wanted to help out and be involved as much as I can. And together, it's become what it is. Just the both of us putting it together. Yeah.
That's awesome. It looks like you guys have a strong partnership, which is very important when you're doing anything in a business or organization format. So I did want to just congratulate you too on that. That's awesome. One of the things I really liked on the site was how there was a variety. There was information on games in the DMV area, in Memphis, in New York, and Texas. Do you guys feel like, hey, we're going to stick with a certain region, or do you feel like in the future you'll have games listed nationwide so you can be like a national resource like an ESPN or NCAA? What are your plans around that?
So I can start off. So for right now, we cover the DMV area, DC, Maryland, Virginia, and I cover the New York and New Jersey area just because it's the two of us. And occasionally we cover Texas and Memphis if those are showcase games. If Martinez makes it down to Memphis, or we also have a friend from Howard down in Dallas, so occasionally we'll cover those two areas. But for right now, we're just covering DC and New York, New Jersey because it's the two of us mainly. But we would love to expand, and eventually we would like to cover as many big cities and as much of the country as we can. I think that would be ideal, and just to kind of get our offices out to everyone, not just these two regions.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely concur with what Paul said, which is one reason we're looking for interns. We think our site is a great opportunity for students, high school students, college students who are looking for sports journalism experience.
Mm-hmm.
We offer that, and we have covered some national events as well, the McDonald's All-American game, a Dick's Sporting Goods National High School Tournament, and we'll also be covering the Jordan Classic. But, as Paul said, it's a two-man show right now, so, mainly D.C. and New York, but we definitely want to expand.
Okay, and that's one of the things I had listed to ask later, but let's just go ahead and address it now. How can someone, I'm actually in a radio, television broadcasting program, and I know some people looking to have some internships over the summer, and then just in general, how can someone be a part of the team as like a contributor or an intern? Things of that nature. What steps do they need to take, and what would you like for them to present? Are you looking for a demo reel? Are you looking for written examples. Tell us what they need so that they can be an asset to you guys in an internship format.
All right. We have a component to our site. It's a tab called Join Us, and it kind of outlines everything that you need to know to become an insider. But not only that, if you have questions, you can email us at hardwoodinsiders@gmail.com. As far as work product goes, it would be great if you have any samples of work. If you've gone to games and written about games, or if you have a blog, definitely that would be great. But if you have no experience at all, we're looking for people like that as well. If you've never written about a game, etc., that's fine. Just go to a game that you think is newsworthy. Send us the report, and we'll approve it, or we'll say, hey, these are some things we think we need to work on, and move forward from there.
Okay.
And just to kind of follow up with what Martinez was saying, maybe you're not a writer, maybe you're a promoter. So I think the first thing is just reaching out to us. Making sure you email us at hardwoodinsiders@gmail.com and reaching out and tell us what you think you know and how you think you can be a benefit. Like I said, maybe you can be a promoter, maybe you can help on the financial side, whatever your asset is, you might be able to help us. You just have to reach out and let us know.
Right. I really like that energy, because it's like, hey, whatever skills you can bring forward, we're going to review them and see how they can benefit us. And it can be a win-win, and not just segmented to where somebody has to step forward with a journalism background. So that's really, really good to know. I appreciate you guys opening that opportunity up. One of the other things I really liked on the site was the educational resources for students and parents, and how they can kind of come to your site and use it as a tool for mental growth around the game and college preparation. What inspired that to where it's not just about the game, it's not just about the fundamentals of the sport, but it's about offering a resource so that people have the enlightenment on the educational side as well as the game side. Talk a little bit about that.
Well, I'll just start on that. I would say just first off, basketball is going to end for everybody, no matter what level you're on, whether you're playing in the NBA, whether you're playing in high school, whether you're playing in college. You're gonna be finished playing basketball at some point. So your education is going to be important. So just showing kids early how to use it, how it can help them with career after basketball is just one of the most important things that I wanted to do as a former athlete. My career ended after college, and I still have a career in basketball, but it's just not playing basketball. And I wanted to be able to share that message now that I'm done. I felt it was very important as a young man, particularly a young black man. I wanted to share that with other young black males.
Yeah. And just to piggyback on that, the educational component was an idea that Paul came up with initially. And as soon as he mentioned it, I just thought it was a great idea. And, I think a lot of times as a young player, your mind is so fixated on making it to the NBA that you don't really take the time out to think about, other avenues. What am I going to do when this is all over? A lot of times kids will make decisions in the future based on what they think, thinking they're going to make it to the NBA. So they go into sports management, which is nothing wrong with that. But, there are so many different degrees and so many different opportunities out there that kids may not know about because they're so fixated on one thing. Mm-hmm. But we think, this is a perfect resource for them to, diversify and think of other avenues to go into.
Okay.
And also there's also information on there just to help you to get to college initially, so you can actually still be a student athlete once you are in college.
Right.
There's some information on recruiting and remaining eligible, and when you need to take the SAT, when you can score an SAT. So just that actually helps in that sense as well.
Right. Okay. That's really awesome. Another thing that I really like is, you guys pride yourselves on saying you do an in-depth analysis of the games that you attend. So it's not like a quick review. It's not like just, brief little tips or thoughts or anything like that. So when I think of in-depth analysis on a game, I think about, sports casting, I think about sports writers, sports reviewers, I think about ESPN, Sports Center, I think about all of that. So do you guys feel like eventually that's something you would want to roll into in a format to where that's something that you're known for, reviewing basketball games? And do you see yourself doing that with Hardwood Insiders only, or could you see yourself partnering with other journalism formats?
Yeah, I mean, right now we're very open. Our focus right now is just being the best reporters in DC and New York, and any expansion is open in our minds. So anyone who wants to work with us, we're willing to work with them. Just being so new, we really want to perfect what we're doing right now, which is reporting in the DC and New York areas, and sometimes Texas and Memphis as well. For opportunity to rise us to expand to that level, then we're definitely looking to take it.
Okay.
Yeah, I think Martinez said it as well as it can be said. If there's an opportunity, we'll look into it. But for right now, we just want to be the best at what we do for right now.
Okay. Very awesome. So both of you guys, are athletes. Martinez is actually my cousin, and I know he's loved basketball from a very, very young age. So I just want both of y'all to kind of reflect, and if you could give any piece of advice to your middle school or your high school self, in a way that in middle school or high school you would receive it, what would that be? Because we're gonna have listeners out here who are playing the sport, they're in the game, and a lot of times as youth we're like, oh, I don't want to hear that. I practice, I do my homework. Isn't that enough? So what is something that you would say to your youthful self that you feel like would have changed your game or your practice pattern for the better, and made you, a better athlete?
Well, for me, I think listening, if I just took the time to listen, one to my dad, probably most important to my dad. That's who I lived with growing up. It was just me and my dad in a small apartment. And a lot of times I would try to fight against what he said. And he's been there and done that. He played college basketball. He trained two college athletes and my older brother. So he knew what he was talking about. And a lot of times I wanted to go against everything he said. So had I listened, it probably would have made things a lot easier. I probably would have learned a lot more, and I just would have become a better athlete sooner had I listened. So I would always say listening to people, to your role models, to people that you have in your life that are trying to help you, is always important to listen to somebody that's been there and done it before.
Okay.
Yeah. I think that's great. For me, I would say two things. I guess just from a playing perspective, health and nutrition is just as important as, practicing on your cheap shot and et cetera.
Mm-hmm.
At a young age, you feel like you can eat whatever you want, not really lift weights or run, but all those things kind of come into play as you get older and you start playing bigger players, more physical players, faster players. The athleticism and the endurance becomes very important. And I guess just from a mental aspect, just staying balanced, like I said earlier, have a focus on, some reading as well as playing basketball. Sometimes I would just dribble into the night at 2 a.m., wake up in the morning, go to class. My whole mind was fixated on basketball. And if you love basketball, that's great, but there are so many different things that you can do in the field of basketball. I feel like I could have got into it a little earlier had I focused on it in high school and in college. So I guess those were the little tidbits that I would provide.
Okay. I think both of those were very valuable, and they both make a lot of sense. And it just shows how, people can share the same vision, but their mission could be somewhat different. So I think that that's really awesome. So since you guys are in tune with high school players, you're aware of, some athletes that are really doing some big things. What players do you have your eye on right now? What players are you saying, you know what, in a couple of years that guy's gonna be looking at going to the NBA, or with a couple of more games he's gonna be starting, or I can't see that team without that player. What are some athletes that you kind of have your eye on right now? You're really following their sportsmanship and the way that they play the game.
Well, I'm actually glad you asked that. So I don't like to put pressure on Sunday high school kids. They always got to go to the NBA when that's at least at minimum 3 years away for senior year, or 2 years away senior year, and then freshman year of college. So I don't want to put that kind of pressure on them. But there's a kid that we're about to start following named Isaiah Briscoe. He goes to Roselle Catholic in North Jersey. We're going to do what's called a video diary. We're just going to stay updated with them throughout the summer and into the basketball season, high school basketball season. Just follow him, see how he's going, just have him interview, do 5-minute interviews, and post it on the website. So we're following him. So he's, for the New York area, he's definitely the player that we're looking at, Isaiah Briscoe, class of 2015. He goes to Roselle Catholic in North Jersey.
Oh, wow. Very awesome. What about you, Martinis?
There are a lot of players in the DMV area. And like Paul said, don't want to put too much pressure on them. I've seen a couple kids at the NASA, Alani Moore, the starting five for Paul the Six. I have a lot of high expectations for that team. There are a lot of players in the DMV area, and obviously we just got back from the McDonald's All-American team, so all of those guys were really impressive. I have high expectations for a lot of players in the DC area, and the McDonald's game, and also the Joy Classic coming up as well.
Okay, awesome. And something I wanted to touch on that I think you guys have impressed me with is not only is there a love for the game, there's a love for other aspects around the game in a professional format. So I just want to hear what you would say to someone who has a love for the game. Like me personally, I played basketball when I was in middle school, and I loved the game, but I wasn't the best. I did a lot of, I was on the team, but I did a lot of assisting the coach. I kept stats for the coach. My stats were so accurate. If there was a discrepancy amongst the official stat keepers, they would review what I had notated. And I didn't know that there was so many like professional pieces to the game that I could have explored other than not playing. So with you guys being, successful attorneys and also loving the game, can you kind of share some business aspects of basketball for some people who love the game but know for a fact, getting out on the court is something that they're not going to do in their lives? What are some other things that they can do in a professional format?
Man, there's endless things, from promoting, as Paul said, you could be a statistician. Engineer. I'm pretty sure there are people who engineer the basketball so that they aren't slippery, etc. So almost any field that you can think of that you want to get in and go to college for, and you want to connect that to basketball, I feel like you can do it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so and just to follow up, so I work for the NBA, and there are two offices in the New York, New Jersey area. I work in the New Jersey office, and just in this office, there are a million different departments. My department, actually, I work in the basketball operations department, but I evaluate referees. But also inside this office, there are people that plan community events, there are people that handle digital activities, there are finance people. So regardless of what your major is, there's a role for you in basketball, and you can still be around the game and have a feel for the game, no matter what your major is, no matter what your expertise is. You can be involved in the game.
Okay, very awesome. I'm glad that you guys shared that and opened up about that, because they're I don't think there's a huge connection to that side of the industry. There's not a huge connection on the business side or the organizational chart that makes the basketball games actually appear and take place, throughout the NBA. There's a lot that goes into that. So I'm glad you guys shared that. I really appreciate the opportunity to have you guys and to interview you. It's been enlightening. I've had a wonderful experience. Can you tell my listeners the exact domain name for the web address and how they can also keep up with you guys on Twitter?
Yeah, once again, we really appreciate you for having us. And, anyone interested in going to the site, it's hwinsiders.com. Or hardwoodinsiders.com. And if you want to follow us on Twitter at insiders13.
Okay.
And also, I'd encourage you to follow our Instagram too, Hardwood Insiders.
Very awesome. Any other social media?
I think that's it.
Oh yeah, no, actually, there's one more. So we do have a Facebook too. So look up Hardwood Insiders. You can find us on Facebook as well.
Okay. So we got Twitter at Insiders13. We have Instagram, Hardwood Insiders, and then we have Facebook, Hardwood Insiders.
Yep, yeah.
Okay. Awesome. Well, thank you again, gentlemen. It was a pleasure speaking with both of you, and I wish you success in everything that you do.
All right, thank you.
This is KP from the Memphis 10. I write, I blog, I inspire. This is blogspot.com.
With you.